At the beginning of this year, I changed my whole life around. I moved to an abandoned Italian farmhouse in the middle of nature in the remote hills of Piemonte. I'm Nikki, in my 30s, with no real building experience, and step by step I'm going to try to turn this forgotten place full of history into something amazing. So in last week's video, this is how far I got these two whole walls, and with this one we stopped after I exposed the old smoke channel from the fireplace here. So I am going to go ahead and continue with this wall because we are very curious to find out how it is looking around this window, because that decides if I'm going to leave this wall exposed and fix this up or that I'm going to plaster it. So let's get going. So after I finish this wall here, we are going to do something very exciting, because I'm going to take you guys to the room upstairs, which is going to be my future bedroom. But there's some stuff over there and I saw some very cool things that I'm going to share with you guys. But first we are going to do this little bit. So it is around 40 degrees Celsius today. I don't know how warm it is inside here. Of course, it's better than being outside in the full sun, but it is still very, very warm. And the camera just keeps overheating and overheating, and so am I. But yeah, slowly we are getting somewhere. And I actually think around here it looks very good. Big, strong lintel over here. And they did something to the edge. A bit of repairs for this floor. You can see it all around the whole room, but that's not really a problem. It's just a few layers of bricks. They're still very strong, and I think if I going to point this wall, I think it will fit nicely in there. I don't really mind those. And around the window so far we are good. It looks very beautiful. It looks very strong. There's a thick layer. You can see it over here a little bit, a thick layer of plaster, probably from years and years and years and years after just plastering over the old one. But yeah, it's looking good. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. But of course, this part is also always an interesting part, because this is also, if it was a bigger opening once, they might have closed it up with some other bricks. But so far, I'm definitely not disappointed. So yeah, I'm just going to catch my breath, drink something, and continue to see what is around here. So I have to admit something, because over the last few months I have slowly been losing a bit of my enthusiasm for filmmaking. Not filmmaking in general, but you know, filming every step of what I'm doing. And that's not because I don't like the filmmaking part, because I studied photography and a little bit of filmmaking a few years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I have my bachelor's degree, and it's something that I have loved for my whole life. But it's also something that slowly turned from a hobby to being a professional, and then to making videos for YouTube for a larger audience. And that is something completely different, and it feels different. It goes from something that you enjoy doing to relax to something that, I don't know, over the past few months, and I've been making YouTube videos for years now, and professional photography even long before that, but since the renovation, basically it started to feel a bit like a chore, and that's something that's not ideal, because this is my job now, and I also really want to enjoy it, so I want to take the time, I want to really be happy with things I film if it looks beautiful. And I don't want to feel like, oh, I'm not going to film this because I need to focus on the work. And that's what's been happening. It's like I have so much things to do that sometimes filming, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of energy, and not only in like the thought process, but setting up the camera. And over the last few months, that has been slowly happening. And I think that's fine. You can work through that. Everybody has things in their job that they don't like, and I love everything about it, except that slowly but surely a little bit of that spark was fading away. But over the last few weeks, 2-3 weeks, I have been trying to really look for that spark again, to really enjoy making beautiful shots, to enjoy the nature around me, to enjoy setting up the camera, seeing what works, and focus on filmmaking more. Well, not more than the work, but make it a priority to find shots that I think are really beautiful, and just take the time for that. Just slow the work down to take time. And I think that's been working, because I've been really enjoying that, and I've also seen comments of you guys that are really enjoying it, and I think that's a good thing, because it gives me back my energy, and it gives me back that enthusiasm, and it helps me to find the energy to keep putting energy in the filmmaking as well. And it can be a bit of a hassle setting up the camera, filming, walking back to the camera, doing some things on my own. I'm completely sweaty, I'm messy, I have tools, I have most of the times protective gear. It can be very annoying to film. And something that's helped me with enjoying the process a bit more is actually the sponsor of today's video. I'm really happy to have them as a sponsor. We've been working together for some time now, and you know I love this product. I know you guys love it as well, because this is the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX. It's a foldable drone, it's very lightweight, and what helps me the most is, even if I don't feel like I want to take a lot of time setting up the camera, I don't want to walk back and forth, I can just grab this one. I can show you a lot more of my surroundings because it is a drone, so it keeps a bit of distance from me. It can go higher than the camera can, and it really works out that way because I'm able to show a bit more of my surroundings, which of course is very beautiful, but it also makes my workflow a lot easier. I can just work. And I can launch it from my hand. I can choose a mode that shows the scenery, that shows what I'm doing. Launch it from my hand. Don't have to worry about it. It will do its thing. It will make a beautiful clip that I can use in my videos. I can just continue. It will come back to me. It will land on my hand. I can continue to work. Launch it again if I think something beautiful is happening. If I want to show you a bit more. It has a lot of modes that are very, very easy to use. I also have another drone. You need to be a bit experienced to use that one, but with this one it is just very easy. You can just select what you want. All the different modes have a different purpose and they all work great. Launch it, it will fly, it will do its thing, it will come back to you. I don't have to think about it, I don't have to worry about it. So even on the days that I don't have that much energy to set up the camera, show everything, walk back and forth, set it up again, or because I am working with my hands, I need my tools, and I just don't have, you know, a lot of hands to do that, I can just launch this thing and show you what I'm doing. It will make beautiful, beautiful videos. I don't have to worry about anything and I can just focus on what I'm doing. And sometimes I need that because sometimes it makes my whole filmmaking process easier. And that's why I am really happy that they wanted to sponsor this video, because I truly think this is one of the best filmmaking things I have right now. Of course, camera work, beautiful, of course. But this thing, the combination of being so easy, having so much different modes and very lightweight, don't have to worry about anything. Just on those days that I'm like, I don't want to film anything, I don't feel the energy, this gives it back because it's so easy, it's so beautiful. And after that I'm like, oh, I made a beautiful shot. I find the energy that way because it just, I don't know, it's a start. Even on the days that you don't want to film anything or you are alone and you don't know how to do it, this really works great and I'm really happy with them as a sponsor. So if you're looking for something like that, if you recognize my feelings, if you make videos yourself, or you're just a creator that wants different perspective but easy, something they can carry with them, go check out HOVERAir. This is the HOVERAir X1 PROMAX and yeah, I think it's just great. So if you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend it because it makes my days easier and gives me back that energy for filmmaking. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to tell you that and tell you about this amazing sponsor. But I feel my energy for filmmaking getting back every day. So don't worry guys, sometimes it just goes up and down. I'm not going to stop making videos for YouTube. I just think it was necessary to address this, address my feelings and also this amazing sponsor. So let's get back to the work because I think it's time. Hij is wel zwaar hoor. So it was actually my plan to finish that wall yesterday, but I didn't do that because I spent some time clearing a little bit of the workshop room together with Dylan. Got some of the old furniture out because that will get picked up with the rest of the garbage, which is really nice. But also because I want this space to put like a workbench for my DIY projects here. But yeah, we are definitely going to finish that wall. Let me turn around. That wall today to see what it looks like around and under the window. But first I am going to take you guys upstairs, and that will be my bedroom basically, which is right now a really messy looking room. Looks a bit scary as well, but there's also some pretty cool stuff there. I didn't go through it yet. I found some stuff here that I'm going to show you as well. Didn't see anything up close, but from far away I could see some pretty cool small stuff. So yeah, let's go, let's take a look. So this is the first room. This room is above the workshop room. Has pretty cool views over there. And yeah, pretty beautiful space. If we go through this beautiful blue room to the next door, then we are on top of the corner room I am clearing the walls at, and this is going to be my bedroom. So the floors here need to be redone. The ceiling here needs to be redone, but in this part of the building, we are looking at that right now with specialists, of course. We might need to do some very large repairs to the roof or even a little bit of replacements, and depending on what everything costs and which permits we need for which job, we are going to go with either if it's possible, repairing or replacing parts. But that is the roof on top of this part of the building, because the other building, the roof has been redone probably 15 years ago in a very simple way, but that's good enough for hopefully forever while we will live here. You can see some things on the walls as well, some cracks. This is because this is the old like smoke chamber from the fireplace, which is directly underneath here. That will need some fixes, but it's not too crazy that it's there. And there are some cracks in the walls. The windows are completely broken. You can see nature growing in there. So a lot of work to do, but I do think it's going to be very beautiful, because in this opening we'll probably be able to put a large glass window in here, and here new ones as well. So it's going to be much lighter. You can see a window over there. It's a bit bright now because of the sun, but you have a view over the cliff from that side. So I do think this is going to be a beautiful room, but I also think it needs a lot of work. But there is some stuff behind the old dirty mattresses here that also need to go, that I think is pretty cool. So we are going to take a closer look. Okay, so we found some strange stuff here already. Some signs, some cards, some other things. In this room and the room below me, I found a lot of funeral cards from a very, very long time ago. There are some here as well, and I'm going to show them without showing the people, because those people have passed away. I don't personally know them, and I want to respect them in the only way I can, which is not throwing them on the internet. But I do think the cards look very cool, and I think that's cool to show as well. So in this house, most of the personal belongings from the former owners are gone. We find little bits here and there, and most of the stuff is old furniture without anything personal, basically. There are some paintings on the wall, very few pictures. And the most of the leftover stuff is bigger stuff like furniture or the winemaking equipment in the cellar. But here and there we do find some little things in like a closet, or, you know, in the old furniture, basically what's left behind. But in this one I found a little bit of papers, and I think this is, you know, the one place that everybody has in their house where you keep things like funeral cards, birthday cards. There's even like a Christmas card in there, but also your bills, the important things from the commune and some other things. And I think this was the place here, because this is where I found a lot more stuff. and not really that much still. A lot of the history of the people here is a mystery, and it's fine. I think in a lot of cases with houses, it's a mystery who has been there before. Sometimes you know a lot and sometimes you don't. But there are some letters here that give a little bit of insight in the history of the people living here. And that, I think, in a way moves everything around a bit. If I'm reading letters, if I'm seeing pictures, then I'm no longer standing in just a building that I'm going to renovate. I'm standing in a place that once, years ago, these letters are, I don't know, between 50 and 100 years ago. It depends on which one, of course, but years and years ago there were people living here that had no idea that one day I would be standing here. And of course, time goes by for everybody, and that's just how life works. But when you read personal things like that, it's almost like you can see the people living here in a way. I don't know if I'm able to express that feeling very well, but it makes it more real. It makes it more like this is really happening. I'm just a small part of the history here, of the history of this farmhouse, and they were a small part of the history as well. But now I can see a little bit of their history, and now hopefully I am able to make my own story here and my own history. But there are a few letters here. My Italian is not that amazing yet. I'm trying to learn, guys, but talking is a little bit easier than reading, especially because this is like old language. And even if I read a letter from my grandmother in my native language, you know, older people have a way of saying things differently, so it makes it a little bit harder. It's the same with these letters. So I'm going to translate them. I read a little bit, enough to understand where it's what it's about, basically. And that was enough to make me a little bit sad reading them, because I don't think it's a very nice story. The people writing to each other are, well, the letters that I have here are letters from a wife to her husband a very long time ago. And I can, of course, only see her side of the story. But she writes just enough to give you an idea of what's going on. I'm not going to show the whole letters here because they are very old, they are very Italian, and I don't want you guys to read everything that's in there because there is some personal information. But I'm going to translate them and tell you the story how I'm reading it, because it made me a little bit emotional. So I think that's a good thing though, because it makes me in a way more passionate about everything that's going on here, because it feels a bit more like I'm getting to know the people that were here before me and their life. Of course, just such a small fraction of it. But still, it makes it feel more real, more special, and sometimes more painful as well. But yeah, it's beautiful. They are very beautifully written, but there are some painful things in their story. So yeah, let's grab them, let's translate them, and I will tell you what I found. The letters are written in a period just after the war. Some are sent a long time apart. The last letter is sent in 1954. The letters are from the wife sent to the husband. It's her side of the story. She writes about letters he wrote, but I don't have those letters. I only have hers. So at first, they are simple messages between a husband and a wife that are separated by circumstance. She writes to him from what seems to be a care facility, because of some medical problems. He stays behind, busy with the work on the farm. In the beginning, her letters are filled with love. She asks for simple things: a coffee grinder, a lemon, some black wool to pass the hours with her knitting needles. She asks for fresh tomatoes from the land. She asks him to tell her family she's doing okay. She reassures him. She talks about ongoing medical examinations and about how she is feeling. And she asks about home. You can feel the warmth of two people trying to hold on to each other across a distance. But as the time passes, the tone begins to fracture. Amidst the medical checks and the quiet waiting, fear starts to creep into the handwriting. A sudden silence from his side. She talks about how long she has to wait for his reply, how he does not visit on the date they agreed on. She worries. She asks how he feels. She talks about the heavy burden on his shoulders, and she talks about how much she needs him. She talks about how she knows that the work on the farm is too much for him, and how she hopes everything will be better after the harvest period. And then, a letter that shifts the mood completely. She writes of his last visit, a Sunday conversation that broke her heart. She speaks of a decision without going into too much detail. She writes about him leaving, how he's not able to do it anymore, about how he needs to go. These letters don't go into detail, but leave more questions. Is he leaving? Are they being forced apart by a world that made staying impossible? Then there's the next letter. Her words are raw. She writes, "I haven't slept since Sunday. The strength is leaving me." She writes, "I can't eat. I can't stop thinking about what you told me." Yet, even in a moment of clear desperation, her love is written on the paper. She tells him to hold on to hope, to stay safe, to remember the day they can finally be together again. And then, nothing. She sends one last letter, begging him to reply, begging him to visit her or at least send her a letter. She writes she hasn't heard from him in months. She writes about how much she worries about him and how she misses him, about how she is losing strength. She writes about how she is giving up because she can't take it anymore. She writes about how she has beautiful memories of when they were together and how much that means to her. And she writes she hopes he is okay and that she hopes he holds on to those same memories. The letters don't go into detail. I don't know exactly what happened between them or what forced them apart, but I do know it's about love, it's about hardship, it's about life. In a way, I wished I knew their whole story. I'm left with questions about what happened, but I also think that's how it's supposed to be. It's their story, it's their life. It's not my story to know completely. It's just 6 letters, but enough to move me, to touch me, to motivate me even more to restore this farmhouse into its former glory. Not only for the history of the house and the land, but for the memory of its former owners. It is getting unusually dark for the day, so I'm going to see if there might be a storm coming right now. So I got the majority of this wall done. There is a little bit I need to do here, but I don't really suspect any big surprises there. The most important part was around this window, and it's looking very good. I can see some patches over here that they did some fixing up, but nothing too crazy, nothing I cannot repair. So I think this might be a wall we can make something very beautiful out of. Of course, I'm going to need to fix that, but that is definitely possible. And except for that little part, which I need to do anyway, it looks very, very nice. So yeah, we might keep it exposed, but we'll see what is hiding underneath there. And if everything is exposed, I can better assess what needs repairs or what I can plaster or what I'm going to leave exposed. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. I think it might be time to grab the tools and my camera and go inside, and hopefully there won't be some crazy storm happening, but you never know here. So I found this thing in what's going to be my future living room. I don't know what it's used for. It almost looks like some sort of feeding trough, but I don't see any signs of that inside, so I don't know what it's used for. Probably some sort of storage. It is pretty beaten up, put together by scrap wood at one time, I think, but it looks too cool to throw away, so I'm going to sand it, I'm going to clean it up, probably put a stain on it, and I think it will be a beautiful planter. And yeah, it will not last for, I think, years, but otherwise I would throw it away, and even if it lasts just a year, I'm happy with it. So let's see what we can do. So I have a little bit of stain left over from when I built the chicken coop, and I don't want to buy any new stuff for this, and I'm pretty sure it will look great, so we are just going to use that one so we can keep this really cheap and easy. So that is how it is looking right now, pretty dark, but it still needs to dry out, and then we are going to do something to the inside and of course fill it up. But it is, yeah, it's getting dark, it's getting late, this needs to dry thoroughly, so we will do that tomorrow. So Dylan is the one that takes care of the garden. Sometimes I help him with watering and with building things like the fence or the garden beds, but he takes care of the plants, and that's better because I don't really know what I'm doing and he knows what he's doing, so it's better that way. But giving water is quite a task with how dry and sunny and warm it has been. So I bought a little solar powered irrigation system to help out with that, just to make sure that it doesn't take up too much time. I've never used something like that before, and there are not really that much instructions, but I do think that I can figure it out. So it is a little bit cloudy, thundery right now. There's a bit of a thunderstorm in the area. I do hope it will rain, because last time there was a thunderstorm we had only crazy wind and no rain at all. But I hope I can figure it out and install it before it hits. So let's get going. So I have everything in, it's pretty easy. I just don't know which plant needs how many liters of water or whatever. I really don't know anything about that, so I just placed them evenly. So I think every plant will get some water. I don't know if I can turn on the device right now because it was inside the box, inside the house. But I will see if I can get it started right now. Otherwise, we will do that on a later time. But I think this is going to work. I, of course, need to do the other garden bed as well. But first I wanted to try out how easy it works, and then we'll improve after that. So the device had enough power, I turned it on, it is pumping water, it's dripping everywhere where I put those little things in. So it's definitely working, and Dylan can decide the flow rate, but for now I'm really happy with this because it's going to make life a little bit easier. So that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I wanted to let you know that this Wednesday the summer special video will go live. It will not be an ordinary Q&A video, but I am going to show you a little bit of all the projects that I filmed but didn't make the video, and answer some of the questions I got together with Dylan in between those projects. So very excited to share that one with you, and I hope to see you then.